morning every weekday and join Akinloye on Cradle Radio. Morning every weekday. Join Akinloye on Cradle Radio.
This is Cradle Radio.
This is Cradle Radio. This is Cradle Radio.
This is Cradle Radio. This is Cradle Radio.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, world. Good morning to each and every one listening to me or watching me right now. This is when I say, this is Canada.
Wake up in the morning every weekday and join Akinloye on Cradle Radio.
Oh, definitely. My name is Akinloye, and I want to thank God for the gift of life. Like I do say every time, I'm blessed to be here. I want to say I'm appreciative of every moment that I'm here. It's merely sitting in front of you. It's just not by my might. It's definitely by the Creator's choice, and I really do appreciate that. Even then, so many things comes, off and on. I'm always grateful for that gift that I've been blessed with. Just gotta listen from different places as well, right? Definitely. So if you're listening to me via Cradle Radio this morning, I say good morning to you. And you've not missed much. You're just here right now, and you're blessed, because I'm blessed. I feel blessed for every moment that I spend on this beautiful planet of ours. I feel blessed for every time that I'm opportune to come around and, do what I do best. As having to draw people's awareness. Not only awareness, people's understanding. I kind of like that word, understanding. To things happening around us without us even realizing or noticing, as the case may be. I'm gonna put this one right now. Let's see this. Oh, definitely, it is on. So, I'm always grateful for the gift of life, and where would I be without my Creator? Where would I be without every day that I come into the realization that without Him, I'm just nobody. We're but just speck and dust, people. We're but just speck and dust. That's what we are. And that's what comes to my mind anytime I'm coming on the show, that I'm not special in any way. There's other people that are way special than I am, and for granting me the wherewithal to be here to do what I do, I'm grateful and I'm thankful wherever he is listening to me right now. My name is Akinloye, and this is Canada. This is Canada is a radio show, a flagship from CradleRadio. That allows for each and every one, Canadians, friends of Canadians, friends of Canadians, and wherever you might be in the world, you know, if whatever we're talking about even hits home, oh, definitely you can be a part of this. You could be a part of us as well. So, whenever and however, whenever we're here, doing our thing, we're just blessed. We're blessed for every moment. We're blessed for every moment that we're here. We gotta watch this real quick. We gotta watch this back. Hopefully we didn't lose connection with Facebook in here. Just hopefully. Let's see. You know what? This is gonna be a bumpy ride, all right? So sometimes it does happen like that. What can I say? I hope I didn't even go live on my own page as well, right? Because it's so different. We'll be right back, all right? We'll definitely be right back. It makes life interesting when you got so many things up your sleeves that you want to do at the same time. But anyways, we're live on YouTube, so if you're hoping to join us there as well, that makes a huge difference as well. And I was wondering, you know, so possibly we were just live streaming somewhere else, but it is what it is. Yeah. So sometimes it does happen like that, especially when you're having to deal with so many things all at the same time. All at the same time, right? We just gotta run with this one and see how it goes, really. All right, let's see this. Hopefully we've not, you know, taken it off over. It's really gonna be. It gives me that. I was wondering where everybody was, right? All right, let's roll this way. Let's roll it this way. Hopefully, we've not lost much. I'm just gonna go check on YouTube as well. We just gotta check the parameters for everywhere, so that we don't lose any feed from nowhere. So pardon, you know, the back and forth. Pardon the back and forth, and hopefully we're here. Hopefully we're there. That's why it's always good at every given time to be able to stream on different platforms, right? Yeah, I think we are. Well, I haven't said what I said earlier on about giving glory to God for the gift of life. I'm going to jump right into what we have for today, because time is fast spent already, right? Not in gratifying God, but in the technical glitches that we had earlier on in the morning. But no, the show must go on. The show must go on. That's the truth. The show must go on. This is Canada, people. And one of the things that I saw over the weekend that really drew my attention was the fact that all of a sudden, in another part of the world, the authorities there were drawing attention to native-speaking drivers. When I mean native-speaking drivers, you should be in command of either the languages that's acceptable in that country or in those countries. Now, I'm not talking even about regular drivers right now. I'm talking about truck drivers this morning. And hence the headline, which says this today, And hopefully you could be a part of it, and hopefully you could watch and join us from there. If you're just joining in, welcome aboard. We kind of switched off. We was on my own profile live streaming, and that was what the show was intended for. When you got so many tabs open, sometimes it just happens like that. But what we're dealing with today, what we're talking about is a title that's called Lost in Translation. Language barriers putting truck drivers and Canadian roads at risk. It might sound lengthy, but it's something that affects you and I. Now, what we do on This is Canada, if you're perhaps anywhere in the world joining us for the very first time, we talk about happenings around Canada. Happenings around Canada, be it social, political, economical, cultural, events and happenings and headlines. And not your regular headlines, but those headlines that people seem to just, sway away from. Things that definitely affect Canadians on a day-to-day basis. And that's what we look at, and that's what we talk about on This is Canada, from Mondays through Thursday. Mondays through Thursday from the hours of 9 to 11, really. First segment of the show is a musical build-up for you to build up the momentum and get ready for what's going to be discussed in the day. So, what we do is from 10 to 11, that's the talk aspect of This is Canada. So, that's what the show is all about, and that's for your understanding. Now, when we look at things happening around us, when we look at so many headlines, so many topics, and we might look around and say, you know what? How does that stuff affect me? It would affect you because from the last time I was on Canadian road, I saw, and I keep seeing, and I still see till date, you sharing the road of truck drivers. And one of the things that I did was, hey, the Papa T. All righty. Good morning, Papa T, wherever you are in this part of the world, man. All right, this is Canada. Yes, for sure. Now, sometimes because of, what's that word that's normally used? Political incorrectness. That's the word. People seem to not wanting to talk about reality. Day in, day out, occurrences that people go through, people see, people need to deal with on a regular. Now, if I say, truck drivers are kind of a menace on the road, I'm not overbloating it. My question over the weekend was, listen, is there a possibility that we have a different road that's solely for truckers? That they don't share my 401, for instance. They don't share my QEW, for instance. It was just up on the top of my head. And I know in some quarters of this world too, yeah, the Papa T, the Pooper Spanking Papa T. What a name with an elongation right there. That's a full, if for people who don't know this man, that's a full length of that name anyways. Yeah, we love you from Canada as well. Love from Ohio. This week we're going to experiment something real quick. We'll be experimenting how to join TikTok with our live streams as well. So we want to just, creep into that in a good way and have that to be a part of the live streaming platforms concurrently with all the ones that we have already, which includes the likes of Facebook and the likes of YouTube. And definitely, we're live. We're broadcasting live from the Cradle Studios, through Cradle Radio, the radio station. So, my thinking over the top of my head over the weekend was, listen, man, is it possible? Is it really possible to have a different road for truckers? And then, I'm not even stopping there. Then I saw the headlines, from the Wild Wild West. And I looked at myself, I said, if you're a regular listener on this show, you know where I do call Wild Wild West, right? So you probably just follow through with it, Hey, Talasha, good morning. Good morning. How you doing? From wherever you are in this in this part of the globe this morning, So, I'm thinking on the top of my head, like, such a thing, such a move by the authorities is a welcome development. I believe in that part of the world, or maybe not. But my relation to that as it concerns Canada is the fact that how come we have never thought about that? And I went researching as well. And what I saw was not even authorities, but people who have complained about people not being tested with is it 135 hours? Yeah, I think it was, last time I got my own trucker's license was a long time ago anyways, but and I know what I went through. I even had to stay over in the school for like 2 weeks or thereabout. So I think this is communication between Papa T and Talashe. All right, you guys keep reading all that. I'm gonna just floor this for you guys to enjoy your own chat. If that makes a lot of sense. So, at the end of the day, in my mind, I'm thinking the kind of and this is not having to say to threaten anybody or to get anybody to be afraid of getting into that industry, but the rigorous training that a person like myself had in one of those schools up north was crazy. Like tough. It was in the snow, people. On the heights of the snowstorm, we were on the tarmac. And we were being taught, we were being grilled, we were being groomed. I bet you anybody that passed through that school, there's no way you're not going to be able to drive either a DZ or a AZ comfortably and considering other people on the road. So at the end of the day, you will come out tested, more like fine wine, or almost as pure as gold, with a little bit of impurity that you can correct, which will not cause any drastic actions on the road. And I looked at all of this in my mind, and I'm saying, what happened to those schools? And I've been reading, as regards my research today, that from a school that had maybe like 17 or 6 or 8 before, they're like 200 in the province of Ontario. with a lot of them being in Mississauga and Brampton. And for me, that wasn't even the news. Of course, people can go through trades and colleges and have their own school if they have all the needed tutors or experts that might probably teach people what they need to know as it regards the trade of driving a truck. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? If you've got the facility, if you've got the expertise, and experts in place at all times, why not? If not, it's a form of progress, right? Now, with what I watched in that interview that I saw, I realized that in some of those schools as well, they're allowed to issue licenses. And in my mind, I'm thinking, is that something that should happen? And that's not even the catch right now. That's not even the catch. Because it's very possible that somebody must have been driving a truck from wherever they're coming from before. And this has nothing to do with, oh, you're anti-immigrant. Listen, man, look at my color. If you have a brain, you ain't going to ask me that question. You know, I can be anti-immigrant. You know, so in my mind, I'm thinking, my point this morning is the safety on our roads. It's the safety as it affects everybody. Because back in truck school, we may not understand that if a truck hits a car, it's like two stadias hitting a small vehicle. It's just like two stadias hidden. It's like you're gonna blow that paper away. You're gonna blow it away. So, I'm not even looking at the schooling aspect intricately today, but I'm looking at the understanding of the drivers into road signs and communication as well. And this might be falling off of the fact that for anybody coming into Canada, you need to be able to speak at least the two national languages, which is English and French. Hence, the test of English that a whole lot of people go through. And I think there should be the French equivalent as well. You know, because I'm not a native French speaker, I can't speak for that. But I know there's an IELTS test and some other English proficiency test that you need to go through before you come into Canada. How credible are those tests right now? Because when you have truck drivers that don't speak English and don't speak French on our roads, and this is, like I said, you know, from the inception of this episode, this has nothing to do with being anti this or anti that, but it's more about a safety call, a call to safety on our major roads. Not only the major roads, even the side roads as well. I've not seen anybody who's dead and coming back after, except the one we read about, Lazarus, right? Maybe, don't quote me, but it might have happened where you know or otherwise, but I've not seen anyone. I've not heard anyone. You know, so in my mind, I'm thinking, if somebody dies, they die. That's it. That's the end of that space and time. And that soul just leaves the body. But the people that will be affected, might not recover from that loss. And what we're looking about this morning has a lot to do with road accidents as it affects truck drivers who mostly, as of now, most of them don't even speak the lingua franca of the country that they're driving in. If you don't speak English or if you don't speak French, are you going to understand the road signs? A lot of questions have arisen as regards, is the need for truck drivers as important as road safety? That's a question you need to ask yourselves this morning. And I'm not trying to bash no truck driver. I'm just saying it is meant to be a prerequisite. If you're gonna get AZ, DZ, AZ, DZ license, to at least not think about how much you're gonna make driving those trucks, but having the understanding that safety comes first. Some places you might look at it and say, oh yeah, non-immigrants without regular documentation that are illegal, that's what we want to just, hammer on. No, I'm not. I'm in Canada, people. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who drive them trucks who don't even understand the basic language. And this draws a lot of things into authorities that are meant to assess those tests that people submit. I'm going to say, I can't speak for now, but back in the day, for you to go do a test of English in any of those embassies that represents the language that you're proficient in, it is like a tug of war. It is like a tug of war. But guess what? Now, those languages that you fail to want to understand before you man those wheels might just save you, or might just save a lot of families from the heartache of losing their loved ones. Might say this morning and look at it and go like, oh my God, is this really happening? Yes, it is really happening. Does it happen in Canada? Mm-hmm. Is it happening at this Jet 8? Mm-hmm. And not only trucks, look at those guys on the roads who drive in those vehicles as well. So like a large percentage of them can't even communicate in the lingua franca. Now, this is not chastising anybody. This is not reprimanding anybody. This is not being racist against anybody. I'm that person who apparently doesn't fall into that category of set of people who go racial on people's behind. But the reality of this is there's some trade, there's some sectors that have turned into easy getting, easy trade, easy get-ins for people who are not documented in any way. And listen, don't say, oh yeah, he's bashing up us. Try to listen. If you listen real good, it might be beneficial to you as well. How do you want to read those signs on the road? And a little to no wonder when you see people going on the extreme left lanes on the highway where trucks are not even meant to be there. Because they can read. Not that they can read in their own mother tongue, but they just cannot understand the lingua franca of the province that they're in. And some people would even question the fact that, you know what? Those are signs. Once you know the signs, it's okay. What is the assurance that somebody who doesn't speak any the word or the language in a particular set place have an understanding of what the sign says? People will say as well, you know what? People do sign languages. People might not be able to speak or read, but they will be able to read the signs. That's understandable. That's a credible, that's actually a really credible argument. That's a credible argument. But how did that person even get into this country in the first instance without speaking the lingua franca? My name is Akinloye, and this is Canada. If you're just joining us, that's beautiful. That's excellent. Welcome aboard. And what we try to highlight or what we try to talk about has a lot to do with my Canada. And my thing is not to criticize or denigrate anybody. My thing is having to get my country into the League of Nations that it belongs. You know, that's why people love to come here. That's why people want to be a part of this country. That's why people need to buckle up as well, because those people that we seem to having them officers, that all those officers were in, needs to be overhauled in a way, having to retrain, retest them to uphold the virtues, you know, those things that makes Canada what Canada is. And I'm just saying it up at the top of my head. If you're just joining us, what we're talking about this morning is it's titled Lost in Translation. Language barriers putting truck drivers and Canadian roads at risk. That's right. This early morning on a Monday, the first Monday in the month of November 2025. So to my mind, I'm thinking off the top of my head, and I'm saying, how come we have to go through all of this on a regular? How come we got to go through all of this on a daily? How come what we have to deal with has a lot to do with the inadequacies of people that we put in a place of authority? And I'm just speaking off the top of my head on This Is Canada in the morning. Just curious enough and want to know. And if you want to be a part of this show, kindly join our social media handles. And we are Cradle Radio on practically all platforms that you might have, you know, readily on your phones on a daily. If you're on Facebook, we are Cradle Radio on Facebook. Cradle, like Cradle, C-R-A-D-L-E. If you're on any other platform, if you're on Instagram, we're Cradle Radio there. If you're on TikTok, we're Cradle Radio there. YouTube, subscribe to that, and you'll be live watching the Cradle Radio YouTube channel as we beam live on a daily from Monday through Thursday. You will be here watching us and contributing, you know, your own comment as regards to what we're discussing today. So when you look at all of this stuff, when you look at everything as it happens, what comes at the top of our head will be that, listen, how come this is what we deal with on a regular? How come this is what goes on each and every time? Are there no people inspecting or supervising those departments that issues all of this? In a case where you have more schools than more inspectors, what really happens? And I watched a video that was done maybe 2 months ago where one of the pioneers of driving schools, truck driving schools in Ontario, was talking about the fact that there are only 8 inspectors in the whole province. How do you inspect these schools, and how do you inspect their? It's just not. It's not arithmetic, right? It's something that you look at on a regular, and you go like, okay, you got to go through a school, because part of you being in that school is understanding what they're talking about. But if you don't understand what they're talking about, how are you going to even be practical on the roads in terms of understanding the road signs, roads, turn, curbs, speed limits, and all that? How are you going to be able to protect lives of humans flying the roads with you? Because that road is just not necessarily meant for you alone. It's just a road that everybody drives on. So the greed for money, the greed for wanting to get stuff done, is that greed not even killing or disturbing, or is that greed not cutting people's lives short? In a society that's meant to be a civilized society. I wanted to go on and on about this earlier on because we started short of time earlier on today, but the show definitely must be heard about this one. Lost in translation, language barriers putting truck drivers and Canadian roads at risk. You're not just only risking road users. Let's take, for instance, the WTO stops a truck driver at a truck stop. How are you going to even identify a truck stop when you don't even understand the interpretation of those signs? And then when you get to a truck stop, definitely an inspector will come to inspect you. How do you communicate? How do you tell that instructor about your load? How do you tell that instructor about your understanding of your vehicle? When they talk about inspection time, what do? Logbooks are not on for now because we got digital, and having digital definitely, it's not really helping matters in some ways. It eases movement in different ways and it makes it faster. But if you got a digital logbook that just gets plugged in and the inspector just looks at it, where is the communication between the inspector and the driver to know or understand that the driver knows exactly what it's talking about? How would you do that? A job of a truck driver seems to be a job for anybody who doesn't even speak the native lingua franca. That bothers me this morning on This Is Canada. To be a part of this show, join our social media handles. You could join it even ahead of time, and that way you can comment even when the show is over. You can follow the thread and comment and have your voices being heard. And hopefully those voices of yours might just help save somebody's life today, as the case may be. We draw attention of every other person into the reality of an everyday Canadian road user this morning. Sometime you might ask yourself, I don't drive. I'm hopping on a tram. I'm on a bicycle. But it does affect you because those trucks comes as far as coming to those roads, not just on the highways alone. It's just my thought process. It's just my mind thinking aloud. And hopefully yours is synchronizing with mine this morning. I really want to know. Time is never a friend, though, when we are on this show. It's always good to highlight things that might probably change for the better as it concerns the welfare and the well-being of the road users and people in general. I like it when people heed to certain things that might make our society a better place. It will definitely go a long way into shaping us as civilized humans. My name is Akin Lawyer. It's been a pleasure doing this. I'll do same tomorrow morning from hours of 10 to 11 from majorly all three platforms, and possibly we'll, before the week runs out, we'll be knocking the door on TikTok live streaming, putting it and adding it to the list of the live streams that we do on this show from Mondays through Thursday. Don't forget, join me tomorrow from 10 to 11. And for any other person, any other information, investigation, observation, don't forget, you can always do this as well. Send us an email on CradleRadio.com. info@CradleRadio.com. When you do that, we'll be able to have, ours being here. We'll be able to, in one way or the other, be together here, and we'll be able to talk and have your voices and your observations and your suggestions being heard. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. And don't forget, this is Cradle Radio. Live broadcast continues on Cradle Radio. Have yourself a blessed day.
Wake up in the morning every weekday and join Akin Lawyer on Cradle Radio. morning every weekday and join Akinloye on
This
Cradle
is
Radio.
Cradle Radio. This is Cradle Radio.